Alright guys, welcome back to war number 7. We got to bring the rank 3 bishop to war, which was super fun. On path 3, we're going to start out with a global attacker in Killmonger. I know these fights are not nearly as bad as like the super high tier war. We're in like tier 4. I think maybe this one gets us into tier 3, so the nodes are not 100% the same, but it's still pretty annoying with the global nonetheless. But there's just a plain Killmonger. He has nothing to do with the node. His armor does not count as an active armor up, so you don't have to worry about anything. Same with Thing here. He has no armor up on this path 3 node, so there's nothing except dealing with a Thing. So we're gonna we finished with like 3 bars of power on the previous fight, so we automatically start with a special 3. I go for a couple parries, build up that prowess, drop a special 3, and we get to go back to back. The second one, he already has his protection up, so it's not going to do a heck of a lot, but that doesn't really matter. We just have to keep our his rock stacks in check. So he's at 9 here. We just have to make sure we're going to stop at 14. Or there's get one hit in off the parry, do a couple hits into the block, which is exactly what we want to do anyways, because we want to get up those passive prowess that will prevent any indestructibles from the global. So that is the goal here. And keep his keep his rock stacks in check. We throw that special 1, and now he gets a little bit of incinerates on him, and we can do one more hit, and he's finished. Next up, we're going to do our usual Magneto versus a tech champion or a metal champion on the sloped armor node, this time with Guillotine 2099 and the Thorns. We're going to back up, and we're just going to make sure the magnetism is applied. We're going to play the parry heavy game. Try not to get clipped there. I do take a little bit of bleed damage, but that's okay. But we're going to go ahead and stick with just the parry game. That is all we want. We want the parry heavy game. And against Guillotine 2099, there is a chance that that her special 1 power drains. So I figured I might as well just go for the armor break on the special 2, and then I could back up and no worry about any potential Thorns damage happening. So nice fight there. Then Bishop again against Agent Venom. He has nothing to do with the node whatsoever. It's just Agent Venom, but I don't have to worry about him purifying my stun because I'm Bishop, and I can just do usual Bishop things. He is global, so I can just make sure I can parry freely, and then he's done in like a split second. Now the fights are sped up a little bit because again, we got 14 fights in this war, and we even have a brand new fight that I've never done before in my entire life, and we're going to do it first time for you here on the channel. Next up, we're going to start our path 1 fights. We're going to go Viv against Wong. I knew he was going to throw a heavy as soon as I phased, but that's fine. We take a little bit of chip damage here, but then we go in, we get our special 2. Now all we have to do is get to 1 bar power with him below a bar power, and we can start spamming away on those special 1s. I get one here. He's almost done, but he gets that heavy attack again. I just throw the special anyway, and he was almost down to no bars of no power or no health, so it took him out. Next, we got a Crossbones here, also a global attacker on masochism here, and we're going to go with Wiccan because he's a global attacker, and we can basically bypass masochism by baiting heavy attacks and then throwing on our passive debuffs. So we can get the passive neutralize on, the passive incinerate on, and then we're actually going to go for a big special 2 here. We're going to block his special 2, take a little bit of chip damage, and then we're just going to go ahead, again, put on the passive neutralize. Go ahead and bait some heavy attacks. Now, again, I'm just going to hit into the block because I can't really pair. I'm worried about parrying Crossbones with his abilities. I don't want it to screw up. So I'm going to stick with getting the prowess into the block, build up to another special 2. Drop it on him. He's melting away. Again, we're going to get those passive prowess to avoid the indestructible nodes. and then we're going to get a striker and finish it off. So pretty nice fight there. Now, again, I saw an Iron Man Infinity War. I don't have my 6-star Magneto because that's on the other account, so we're just going with the Ascended maxed 5-star Magneto in War, and this is not the first time this Magneto has made an appearance, and it doesn't matter, this nice beefy 7-star duped Iron Man Infinity War on the I think it's if you dash back twice you trigger a regen. We don't have to worry about like regen too much because he's a metal champion. So all I have to do is make sure that I know the spacing, which is similar to what I had another Iron Man Infinity War already, I believe, this season. So I'm a little bit more used to it. And yeah, it's not so bad. It's someone I haven't seen in a while, but now I'm seeing a little more. You can see there was a bit of lag spike there in this fight, but it did not make an impact there. So here we're just going to keep building up our heavy attacks. We're up to 3 bars of power. I'm just going to wait to see. There, I charge up the prowess, get it as high as I can, drop a big old special 3. It takes off well more than half of his health, and now he's just bleeding away. I can just wait. I'm just going to dash back, and he melts. Next up is Sassy on Buffet. So, of course, we're using Viv. Viv doesn't care about Buffet because as long as she has an armor up, she's immune to Nullify. So I can't have my buffs nullified to feed his power. And all I have to do is keep up my medium ending combos to get the heal block on. I'm going to build up to 2 bars of power. Drop a big special 2. Hopefully get my solar burst timing down, and we get the perfect 5-time solar burst, which is great. Now we just have to get to 1 bar of power when he's below a bar of power, and there we go. We can start spamming the special 1. That's 1. That's 2. And now we're just going to go for a 3rd one. And now I think I'm just going to go ahead, even in Wrath, we're going to go ahead, drop a striker, bait the special 2, and another phase, and Sassy is down. Now we have a Gorr mini. This is the one where you gotta knock him down in order to ebb and flow knockdown and right back at it. So we're gonna go with Wiccan here, and we're going to go ahead, parry, drop the go neutralize with the special 1 to extend the duration of the neutralize. That is always the key bit there. And then we're going to go passive incinerate there. The fun part about Wiccan here is he's going to bypass the immunity that like debuff immunity that Gorr gets when he throws a special, or when I knock him down. When I knock him down, I remove the protection, but he gets the immunity to debuffs, but not my passive debuffs. So it is a little annoying because I think my big debuffs, like just my regular debuffs, do quite a bit of damage here. You can see all those incinerates starting to add up even when I haven't knocked him down, but I'm basically just doing the same rotation that I would do as normal. I just don't chip him down as fast. As long as we continue to get some damage over time going, keep that passive neutralize up so we can avoid giving him any regens, then we can just kind of easily get through this Gorr. I know that in our next war, I already saw Gorr on the map, but Wiccan is banned, so I might have to come up some different creative way to take out Gorr there, but we'll see. Or I might end up switching with somebody else. We'll have to see how that fight goes. But there we go. He's slowly disappearing, Gorr. I need to do a better job of keeping up the neutralize to avoid the regens. Every time one of those regens sneaks in, it is giving him some decent healing. But there we go, and I finished with almost a full yellow bar. We're at still like high 90s. Now we're going to also use Wiccan for Adam Warlock, and we've had an up and down relationship with Adam Warlock this season. We've screwed up before, and we've done okay before. But here, I think we do our best Adam Warlock fight of the season. And again, we have to parry or hit into his block to build up those passive prowess. We also have to just worry about Adam Warlock's specials in general to make sure that, like there, I get clipped again by the second half of his special. And you can see that wonderful lag spike that we had again in this war. So Hitting into the block is also key because we need his passive prowess, because his special one gets like a bunch of indestructible charges every time he throws it. So I have to make sure that I am parrying, that I am getting those hits into the block. But we're doing pretty well here. He's more than halfway down, and we haven't really done too much. At special 2, always remember, don't hit into the stasis pod, so you just back away. And now I gotta be careful. He's got that charge there, so he could potentially go unblockable into me. But if I keep my resistance up by dashing back and holding block, I can avoid unblockable attacks from Cosmic Champions with Wiccan. That was a mouthful. But again, we're going to hit into the block here. Be careful at 25%. He also goes into the stasis pod. And here again, I'm at this point, he's got a few too many charges. So I have to either hit into the block here or get some parries. So we get a parry, we take down the indestructible charges. Again, I think one of them is going to come back here by the end of the stasis pod. But we get another parry in, get some extra prowess. And we're going to drop a special 2, and I believe that ends it. So, pretty good fight with Wiccan overall. Next up, the first time I'm seeing the Serpent in war, and I'm going for it. This is the special 2 bias Serpent. We're going to go ahead with Wiccan. We can block unblockable attacks as long as we have the resistance up. So when you dash back and hold block, then you get the resistance up. We also want to keep up that passive neutralize as long as we can. And I did have an invulnerability boost on so that I could take some special 3s. From what, after doing this fight, I think the main issue with the Serpent is that when he gets down to the end of the fight, there's, at least on this particular fight, there's a boatload of power gain. With a boatload of power gain near the end of the fight, I end up pushing him red and to a special 3, and then after the special 3, he basically shoots up to a special 3 again almost immediately, and that's part of like his kit, that he gains like 2 bars of power almost instantly, depending on up to 2 bars of power, depending on how many of like his charges that he has. So here I was doing really, really well. But then I end up pushing him red, and you can see the timer also came at the worst time where I didn't have, there's going to be a few times in this fight where I think I could have got the solo, but because of the timing of the indestructible showing up and I didn't build up enough prowess into his block, I had nothing to remove it. So here he gets the special 3, and I don't take any damage, but he immediately shoots back up to a special 3, and he's going to throw it again. But because those are the only hits I've been taking, I'm able to tank a second special 3. But you can see my problem is that he keeps shooting up with a lot of power, and at this point I'm just not getting enough parries in between in order to do enough damage. So I try to throw that special 2, but he's going to get his immortality at the end, and I end up dying. I go back in. I have to make sure that I used another invulnerability boost because he's going to shoot up right to almost like 3 bars of power. And I'm going to throw that special 1 with the neutralize. We're going to, I believe we end up eating a special 3 here, and then he's going to eventually die. So I can see why without like the invulnerability boost and a champ that can handle his like immortality buff at the end, then it could be a hard time. But we only died the one time there, which was I was super happy about that, so I hope you enjoyed that fight. That was fun. Then this was probably one of the harder fights, Bishop against Nick Fury. And I did pretty well on the fight until near the end. It's still really hard, even with a mutant champion in his second life, to keep tabs on his tactical charges. And at the same time in this fight, I need to hit into his block or parry in order to get the passive prowess to deal with the indestructible from the global. And at the same time, in the second half of the fight, he's going to be stun immune because he's Nick Fury. So there, I block the beginning of the special 1, evade like the end of it, and I'm always trying to push him to 2 bars of power. That is my goal here. But again, it is an issue. I can see how, again, it's another global node scenario where there. Unfortunately, I take an unblockable special 1. My special 2 was not unblockable there, so that was just a poor decision on my part. But I was just trying to counter, and again, I think this part here, the fight, kind of goes okay, because I get him into the second life, and we're doing pretty well health-wise. So I think, again, in the second half, this is where it can get a little bit dicey, where even though you're a mutant, you're still giving him quite a bit of charges, and there is going to be a point where I think he throws a special 1, and it happens to be unblockable, and I do not want that. I get a nice big special 2 off. I'm feeling pretty good. He's unblockable right there, and I flinch. That's what it was. I think I flinched because I saw it was unblockable, tried to evade. He countered right into me, or caught me on a dash back. I'm going to throw that special 1 in order to get some spacing, and then another one, and we finish it. So I was a little nervous at the end of that fight, but we did get through it. Then I brought in Havok for the first time into war ever. So we get some first times in this war a lot. So this is like Incinerate, Shock, Hazard Shift, Kate. So I'm going to, again, my goal is to hit a bunch of times into Kate's block if I can during any of the phases. It doesn't matter. Hitting into the block is fine. And I want actual hits only during the Incinerate phase. See, there, that was like one hit there during the shock phase, and I got a shock on me. I do not want that. I don't want shocks on me. That is not ideal for me. I know shocking Havok is not the right move, so getting a shock on me is not so bad, but I don't want any extra damage, and I want to make sure that I keep up the rotation that I'm doing, which is hitting into the block, build up those prowess, because Kate, whether I'm baiting the heavy or baiting the special 1, I'm going to be taking a lot of dexes that are going to feed those indestructible charges. So as long I get off a nice big special 2 during the Incinerate phase, and now during the there's an Accidental Striker. I love an Accidental Striker, but it was right into some hits into the block, so that worked out okay. We're in the Incinerate phase again, so another special 2 takes off a chunk of damage. A few more attacks here while we're in the Incinerate phase, and now we're going to get back up one more time, hit into the block during the shock phase. And we've got a special 2 locked and loaded here, and we're just going to throw it anyway. Luckily we don't take any shocks, and now we're back in the normal Incinerate phase, and we can finish it with a special 1. Last but not least, we've got Magneto against Maestro here, and I don't really worry about the nodes with Magneto. We're just going to back off at the beginning, make sure the magnetism is up, and then we're just going to play the parry heavy game, drop a big old special 3. This one's Conflictor, so there's a chance for the parry to not work, but it always seems to work for me with Magneto. There, we got to bait some special 1s. Again, we're almost at 3 bars of power. That is the goal. Just parry heavy all the way to 3 bars of power, and now we're there. So we can just we're just gonna bait out this 1 special 1, charge our heavy attack, 41 prowess, drop it on this big 7-star Maestro, and we're gonna take out a huge chunk of damage. There's only 8 bleeds stick, which will still do some detonation when they finish. So we'll just go ahead and do as much damage as we can in between. And I think because I might have used a power back boost, I almost shot up to 2 bars of power right away. And I think I end up even going red again and dropping 1 more special 3 to end the fight. So yeah, I don't know why. I could have just ended it, but we threw the special 3. Hope you enjoyed the war. Lots of new fights. Hope you had a good time. Bye-bye.